Hello everyone, welcome back to Coach Craig Sports. And this would typically be Friday's video. I know today's Saturday, obviously. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather, so kind of delayed this video. There's been a lot of news going around in the NFL as well, so I just wanted to make sure that we have the most updated news for the start sits for you guys. I'm going to try my best with this video. Like I said, not feeling the best, but I'm going to try my best with this. Hopefully gives you guys a little bit of advice. If I'm not quite as energetic or anything like that as normal, just understand and bear with me. But we'll start off with the Texans and the Patriots. So on the Texans side, we got Deshaun Watson. He's going to be a start for me. Probably a low-end quarterback one this week going against that Patriots defense. I know it hasn't been the best in recent weeks, but without a true run game to rely on, it's going to be a little bit tougher for Watson. We'll have to see if Stephon Gilmore ends up playing with this game. He has been dealing with a little bit of a knee injury. If he doesn't play, that could help the passing game for the Texans a little bit as well. Then we got Duke Johnson. He's pretty much like a low-end running back 2. If you're in PPR, running back 2 overall. He's a guy you want to play if you don't have any better options. He should see volume, and that should help him out quite a bit. Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks. I'd start both of these guys in this game, honestly. Just kind of tamper your expectation for whoever Gilmore covers if he is active. Then we got Darren Fells, Jordan Akins. You're going to set both of them. Texans defense is one of the worst in the league, so you guys don't want to play them. It should be a rough day for them. Obviously, like I've been saying with the kickers, I'm pretty much just going to note any other notable changes to them once again. Then we got Cam Newton, and he's going to be a start for me. Texans defense hasn't been very good overall. He should have a pretty solid game in this one. We got the Patriots running backs, so we got Damian Harris, Rex Burkhead, James White, and then Sony Michel should be back this week. Shout out to Nathan K, who mentioned that to me earlier today, saying that he was going to be active and probably play this week. I don't expect too much from Sony Michel, so I would not play him. James White hasn't been too involved recently, so he's going to be a sit as well. Burkhead you could maybe play if you're desperate in a deep league, and pretty much hoping to hit a touchdown upside with him, but I don't see a lot of touches there for him. But Damian Harris would be the main guy this week. I don't see Michelle coming in and taking over too much of the load right away, week 1 coming back. Then we got N'Keal Harry. He's going to be a sit. He actually is dealing with a little bit of shoulder injury as well. He's been a limited participant in practice. We'll end up seeing if he plays or not. Then we got Jacoby Myers, my boy, and he's going to be a guy you want to start this week. Should be a solid wide receiver number 2 pretty much in all formats. Damiere Byrd's going to be a sit. Larry Izzo is a sit. Patriots defense, you could probably play him, but you probably have a better option out there for you. Then we'll move over to the Eagles and the Browns. And on the Eagles side, we got Carson Wentz. Please sit Carson Wentz. Please do not start this guy if you're in Fantasy League. He hasn't been good this year. He was my sit of the week last week, and I nailed that one quite on the head. So just keep on sitting him. Or drop him if you own him, because he's probably not going to help you the rest of the year, honestly. And then we got Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is a start. He's one of my favorite running backs down the stretch. He has a pretty easy schedule. If you guys are still before your trade deadline, if your league doesn't have a trade deadline, he's a guy you should be targeting in trades. Then we got Alshon Jeffrey. He's going to be a sit for me. Last week he came back. He didn't play quite a bit. Only saw 1 target, so we can't trust him at this point. Travis Fulgham, you could probably play kind of wide receiver 3, flex play type of guy if you need to. Jalen Reagor, I'm not trusting yet. I'm going to sit him. I want to see more from him. Dallas Goedert, this is a good matchup for him, but with all these other weapons coming back, he's kind of like a borderline guy to me. If you don't have a better tight end, you can start him. If you have a better tight end, just roll with that better tight end. I know the tight end position in general has been pretty awful this year, though. Eagles defense is going to be a sit for me. Then we got Baker Mayfield. He's going to be a sit. This game might have a little bit of bad weather once again. I expect him to lean on the run quite a bit, so Baker's just not going to have the opportunities. Then we got Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. I'm going to start both these guys. Like I said, they're going to rely on the running game. Both of them went over 100 last week. Should be a good day for both of them once again. Jarvis Landry, he's kind of like a borderline guy. He's kind of like how Fulgham was. Wide receiver 3, flex play type of guy if you don't have anybody better to play. Rashard Higgins is a sit. Austin Hooper is going to be a start. Eagles' defense has been pretty bad against tight ends this year. Just monitor the weather for this game. If it gets a little worse and you have a better option than Hooper, at that point in time, you could play him. You could play your other option over Hooper just because of the weather, but Hooper should be pretty solid this week. Defense is one of the streaming defenses I do like this week. Eagles' offensive line hasn't been very good. Browns' defensive line has been pretty good. Important to note, though, Myles Garrett will not be playing in this game. I believe he tested positive for COVID now. So that could limit them just a little bit. If the Eagles do a little better on offense, that's probably a big reason why. Then next up, we got the Saints and the Falcons, and boy, this one's going to be a little bit interesting. So you got Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. Most of us in the fantasy football community assumed Jameis Winston would be starting this game. If you're out there in leagues, pretty much 25% of leagues picked him up. I picked him up myself in about 4 different leagues. It kind of sucks because they said Taysom Hill's been getting all the first team reps, and he's expected to start on Sunday. But there's a couple different ways to look at this, honestly. Jameis Winston was getting a lot of reps in practice the last couple of weeks. The Saints have been giving Drew Brees pretty much half the week off for rest since he's a veteran. So Winston was obviously getting those snaps, so he should be pretty prepared. Maybe they were trying to get Taysom Hill working in more of these offensive plays that suit his skill set as well. I think they'll kind of switch back and forth between quarterbacks in this game. I can't say that for sure. I'm not Sean Payton. I'm not somebody close to their offense. And honestly, nobody knows until Sunday unless you're really close to this team. And at that point, so both these guys are sets for me. You can play Taysom Hill if you're in that ESPN league and he has tight end eligibility. And you got him. Props to you. Not too much to say there. Obviously, he should perform better than most tight ends, but he's still a wild card. Then we got Alvin Kamara as a must start. Latavius Murray, he could have a little bit more value in this game. I expect them to run the ball a little bit more. He could be like a low-end flex type of play. Not somebody I'm rushing to start, but if you need a bye week filler, an injury replacement, somebody like that, you could do a lot worse than him. Michael Thomas, I'll start him, but he's more like a wide receiver 3 to me just because we don't know how their offense is going to look this week. So he's a guy that needs volume to produce, and if he doesn't get that volume, he's not as good. So it's hard to tell how much they're actually going to throw the ball in this game and who it's going to go to. Emmanuel Sanders is a sit. Jared Cook is going to be a sit for me. He could have a little bit of value in this game. If you look at the plays that Taysom Hill has thrown the ball this year, most of them have gone to the tight end position. Does that mean Cook's going to get those targets? I can't tell you that, whether or not, though. On the Falcons side, you got Matt Ryan. I'm just going to sit him this week. It could be an all-right matchup for him, especially if their defense is able to stick around in the game. The Falcons are going to throw the ball like they always do. Not too crazy about Matt Ryan, though, this week. You got Todd Gurley. He is a low-end running back, too, for me. Saints defense is pretty good against the run. Todd Gurley pretty much has to score a touchdown to be relevant in this game. Then we got Julio Jones. He's a must-start this week. Should be a good matchup for him, especially if Marshawn Lattimore misses. Then we got Calvin Ridley. He returned to practice in full yesterday, so he should be a go in this game. You can start him up. A little bit of surprise that he was able to practice in full, but it's definitely a good sign for him going forward. Hayden Hurst, you probably could do worse at tight end. If you have a better option, you can start your better option. If not, go ahead and start Hurst. Then Falcons defense, there's people picking them up because they thought Jameis was going to start, and Jameis throws a bunch of interceptions, yada, yada, yada. Well, they might not be the worst defense to stream, but they really have no pass rush. They released Tack McKinley, and Dante Fowler Jr. is on IR. They have no pass rush in this game, so it's going to be hard for them to impose their will on the Saints without that. So I'm probably sitting them, with that being said. Then we got the Bengals and the Washington football team. So on the Bengals side, we got Joe Burrow. I'm going to sit him in this game. Shouldn't be the best matchup for him. Obviously, he wasn't that great last week. Washington does have a good defensive line, and that Bengals offensive line has struggled quite a bit this season. Then we got Joe Mixon. He's going to be out once again in this one. Unfortunately for the Mixon owners, myself included, it doesn't look too good for him. Then we got Gio Bernard. Once again, he's low-end running back 2, flex play type of guy. If you need to play him, you can play him. If not, then you sit him. But if you're a Mixon owner and you probably already have Bernard, you might need to play him. So AJ Green's going to be a sit. I think you can start T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd in this one. They should do all right. Bengals probably have to throw the ball quite a bit again. Bengals defense is going to be a sit for me. And then on the Washington side, we got Alex Smith. He's actually a low-end quarterback 1 for me this week, high-end quarterback 2. If you need to play him, you can. Should be a pretty good matchup for him. He's been throwing the ball quite a bit, actually, so that should help him out. Then we got J.D. McKissick. He's a solid running back 2, especially in PPR formats. If you're playing in a standard format, he's probably not going to help you out the best because he's only got that 1 touchdown this year, and that was last week. Getting a lot of targets in the passing game because they've been using him as a running back and kind of the slot wide receiver. Antonio Gibson, Should be a pretty good game to start him as well. Probably a high-end running back 2 in this one. Then we have Terry McLaurin, must start. Should be a good game for him as well. Logan Thomas is a start for me as well. He's actually my start of the week in the Podcastic Network article for starts and sits for week 11. Washington defense, I think you can start in this one. They're pretty good streaming defense if you need to start them. Then Dustin Hopkins, the kicker, has been battling a groin injury. I believe it was the same injury he was battling last week, but he should be all right to play if he went last week as well. Then we got the Lions and the Panthers. We got Matt Stafford. He's got that thumb injury. He should be able to go. If he doesn't go, you kind of have to downgrade all the Lions in general. So the big news for the running backs in the Lions is DeAndre Swift is going to miss with a concussion. This means two things. Adrian Peterson should get more touches. Kerryon Johnson should be more involved in the passing game. Both these guys are probably low-end running back 2/flex plays. If you're playing in standard format, Adrian Peterson is probably a better choice for you. If you're playing in PPR format, Kerryon Johnson is probably a better choice. Kenny Golladay is going to miss once again. He did log some limited practices this week, so I would expect him to probably be back next week. Marvin Jones has been banged up with a knee issue himself. You can probably start him this week. Amendola is out as well. Another guy to look at is Marvin Hall if you play in deeper leagues. TJ Hawkinson, he should be a pretty good start with all these injuries to their team. Lions defense is going to be a sit. So we got Teddy Bridgewater. He's got a question mark next to his name. He's going to be a sit either way, but he's a game-time decision for this game with his knee injury sprain. I think it was a sprained MCL, which would be quite uncommon to play for after 1 week, so I would kind of expect him to miss. If he does miss, then you kind of have to downgrade some of the other options for the Panthers. Mike Davis should be a solid running back 1 this week. Good matchup for him against the Lions. Then we got DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel. Just depending on your league, you can start these guys if you need to. If you don't need to, then you can obviously sit them. A lot of it does depend on whether Bridgewater plays or not, and who's that quarterback actually going to be if it's not him. Is it going to be PJ Walker or Will Grier? If it's Will Grier, I'd tamper expectations for everybody. PJ Walker, I think he can sling the ball a little bit better than Will Grier at this point in time. Panthers defense is going to be a sit as well. I kind of skipped over Ian Thomas, but he's an automatic sit. He hasn't done anything this year. We got the Jaguars and the Steelers up next. Jake Luton's going to be a sit. James Robinson's a start. Also, keep in mind, he has had a little bit of shoulder injury this week. Kind of tamper your expectations for him. More like a running back 2 against this tough Steelers defense. We'll see if he's more involved in the passing game now that Chris Thompson's on IR, or somebody else steps up into that role, whether it's Divine Zigbo or Dare Agumbawale. Then we got DJ Chark. I think you can start him as like a wide receiver 3 type of guy. Laviska Shenault is going to miss once again, so obviously he's a sit. Keelan Cole could have a little bit of value as a wide receiver 3, flex play type of guy, so you can start him if you need to. If not, then you obviously sit him. Tyler Eifert's going to be a sit as well. Jaguars defense is a sit. Chase McLaughlin is still the kicker, so we're just going to roll with him going forward if you need to. But there's probably better options out there for you. Ben Roethlisberger is the obvious start. James Conner should be a start as well after 2 disappointing weeks. Hopefully he picks it up in this one. The Steelers wide receivers, you can probably start all these guys unless you have clear better options. Eric Ebron should be a decent start as well. Steelers defense is pretty much a must start every week. Then we got the Ravens and the Titans. Lamar Jackson's going to be a start in this one. The Ravens running backs, I'm not really keen on starting any of these guys this week after what happened last week, honestly. If I was going to start one, it would probably be Gus Edwards because he's had the most consistent role throughout the season. But otherwise, we're going to be sitting them. Marquise Brown's going to be a sit. Mark Andrews will be a start. Ravens defense is obviously a start. And then on the Titans side, we got Ryan Tannehill. He is a sit for me. If you guys need to play him, if there's no better option out there for him, he should have some passing volume in this game, so that will keep him in play at least. Then we got Derrick Henry. He's a start. Just kind of tamper your expectations for him. We'll see how he does against Ravens defense. That's pretty good overall. A.J. Brown's a start. We'll have to see how he matches up against the Ravens defensive backs. And if he can bounce back from his 3-drop game a week ago. Then Corey Davis is going to be a sit. Jonnu Smith, he's a borderline tight end. You can start him if you need to. If you don't have anybody better, but if you do have somebody better, just sit him. Titans defense is obviously a sit, especially in this one. Then we got the Dolphins and the Broncos. Tua is going to be a sit in this one. Matt Breida is going to be a sit. He's going to be back in this game, though. He practiced in full this week. So we'll just have to see how many reps he does get. If you're in a deep league and you're desperate for a running back, you can pick him up. Salvador Ahmed. He's been pretty consistent 2 weeks in a row. Matt Breida obviously comes back. So you can start him if you need to. Low-end running back 2, flex play type of guy. But just be aware that Breida can take some of that workload away from him. Devontae Parker, he's more like a wide receiver 3 or a flex play to me this week. Not somebody I'm too excited about starting. The targets aren't there since Tua's not throwing the ball quite a bit. Jakeem Grant, he's kind of the same way. Honestly, he's a wide receiver 3 flex play in a deeper league with some upside. Mike Gesicki, I'm going to sit. I'm not real too excited about him. He hasn't taken advantage of his opportunity playing with Tua, playing after Preston Williams was knocked out of the lineup. Dolphins defense is a good start this week against the Broncos offense. Drew Lock, it looks like he's going to play. If he doesn't play, it'll be Brett Rippon. Either way, you're going to want to sit both these guys. Melvin Gordon should be a start in this one. Philip Lindsay is a sit. Honestly, all of the Broncos pass catchers I'm sitting this week, I don't see any of them doing too well, especially with Drew Lock being banged up and playing a tough Dolphins defense. If I had to pick somebody to play, it'd probably be Tim Patrick, but even then, I'm not too excited about any of these guys. Broncos defense is going to be a sit as well. Then we got the Jets and the Chargers. So Joe Flacco is going to start in this game, and you're going to want to sit him unless you're completely desperate at quarterback or in a 2-quarterback league. Frank Gore or Michael Pirine, one of these guys should have value. I'm going to sit Gore. You could probably start Pirine as a running back 2 or a flex if you really, really need to, if you're in a deeper league. There's been talk about him getting more involved in the offense after the bye week. Rashard Perriman, Denzel Mims, kind of wide receiver 3 flex plays in deeper leagues if you need to play him. Joe Flacco was throwing the ball deep when he was out there the last time. Crowder should be better in this game. I think the Patriots kind of took him away. You can start him as type of wide receiver 3 if you need to. Herndon is obviously a sit. Jets defense is a sit as well. Then we get to the Chargers side. Justin Herbert, he's going to be a start. Should be a pretty good game for him. Kalen Ballage is a start as well. Actually, my running back start of the week against this poor Jets team overall. Joshua Kelly's going to be a sit. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, you could probably start both these guys this week and they should do all right. Hunter Henry, I don't know. I've been bashing Hunter Henry, honestly. And he hasn't gone over 40 yards in 6 straight games. 5 or 6 straight games now. So it's hard to rely on him, but it is a good matchup. So if you don't have anybody better, you can start him. If you have somebody better, you obviously sit him. Chargers defense should be a good streaming option this week, and they do get Joey Bosa back on defense. Then we got the Packers and the Colts. We got Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be a start. Just tamper your expectations against a good Colts defense. Same thing with Aaron Jones. Start, but tamper your expectations. Devontae Adams, start. He's one of the best wide receivers out there, so you're going to light him up. Then you got MVS and Allen Lazard. Allen Lazard should be back in this game. But both these guys I'm not going to play. I'm going to sit them until we know what their situation looks like more. Robert Tonyan is a sit for me as well. Colts have been pretty good against the tight end position overall this year, and Tonyan hasn't done much recently. Packers defense is going to be a sit. Then on the Colts side, we got Phillip Rivers. He's going to be a sit. If he does have a decent game, it could be because they're coming back from behind. Packers play a lot of zone defense, and a veteran like Phillip Rivers should be able to kind of dink and dump, pick that apart. Nyheim Hines, if you're in a PPR scoring league, you probably play him as a low-end running back 2, high-end flex. Jonathan Taylor, Jordan Wilkins, I'm not really looking to start either of these guys. Packers do have a poor run defense, so one of these guys could play well, but I'm trying to avoid them unless I have to start them. Then we got Michael Pittman Jr. I think he's a start as a wide receiver 3, flex play type of guy. Should have a pretty decent game in this one. T.Y. Hilton's always a sit. Then we got the Colts tight ends. They're all going to be sits for me this week. Jack Doyle did return to practice after his concussion, so it looks like he'll play, which kind of hurts all of these tight ends together. Colts defense, overall, you can start. Just tamper your expectations, as the Packers do have a very good offense. If you're able to pick up another defense and play them this week, I would consider doing that. Then we got the Vikings and the Cowboys. Kirk Cousins, he's a borderline guy. If you don't have a better option, you can play him. If you have a better option, you obviously play him. Should be a pretty good game against this Cowboys defense this week. Dalvin Cook should have a good game as well. He's a must start pretty much every week at this point. Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, you can start both them this week. Just know with Justin Jefferson, the games he's had more than 5 targets, he's gone over 100 yards, but all the other games he's struggled. So it's all about volume for him. If Kirk Cousins throws the ball at least a decent amount in this game, he should have a decent game. Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith are both going to be sits. Vikings defense, I see a lot of people talk about streaming them, but it's not one matchup that I'm really looking at overall. Andy Dalton's going to be a sit. Ezekiel Elliott, he's a start, but he's like a running back 2 at this point in time. Amari Cooper, I think you can start in this one. Should be all right. Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to sit. Dalton Schultz, you can start. Low end tight end 1 with a little bit upside for more if you need to. Cowboys defense is going to be a set for me, though. Then we got the Sunday night game, and it's Chiefs and the Raiders. We got Patrick Mahomes. He's obviously a start. Honestly, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was my set of the week. I know on paper this matchup looks good, looks like he should produce, but honestly he hasn't been playing a lot, and he's only averaging 9 touches a game since Le'Veon Bell showed up. So the volume's not there. He has to produce on super efficiency or score a touchdown to be fantasy relevant, so not somebody I'm too excited about. But if you do need to play him, I understand it, but you should have a better option out there to you. Le'Veon Bell's going to be a sit. He honestly hasn't been too well, even coming over the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill's going to be a start. Sammy Watkins' return to practice is going to play this week. He's probably like a low-end wide receiver 3, flex play type of guy. You can roll him out if you need to, but if you don't, you can wait another week on him. Travis Kelce, best tight end there is. Go out and start him. Chiefs defense, this one's going to be a set for me this week. And then on the Raiders side, we got Derek Carr. If he plays anything like he did the last time, you should be starting him. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, definitely start him. But if you have a better option in a 1-quarterback league, you can play your better option. Josh Jacobs, you're going to start. Henry Ruggs, Nelson Aguilar. I'm not too excited about starting either one of these guys. One of them probably will have a good game, but I don't know which one it is, so I'm going to sit them. And if you want to take an upside play, if you're in a matchup where you need a big upside play, you can play either one of them. Hopefully they hit. Then Darren Waller is going to be a start. Raiders defense is a sit. Last but not least, we got the Monday Night Football game. That's the Rams and the Buccaneers. So we got Jared Goff. He's going to be a sit. These Rams running backs, they got a trio now. They got Henderson, Brown, and Akers. I'm not too excited about any of them. I understand if you need to play Henderson or Brown, it's kind of like a low-end running back 2 or flex play if you don't have anybody better. But I would try to avoid it as Tampa Bay has had a very good run defense this year. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, they're like wide receiver 3s to me this week. Tampa Bay's got a very good defense. One of them will have a good game. I'm just not sure which one it's going to be. If I had to guess, I think it would be Cooper Kupp just based on his matchup. We got Tyler Higbee, Gerald Everett. I'm not starting either of these two guys. Not excited about either of them. Rams defense you can start. You might want to tamper your expectations a little bit, but I think they should have a pretty decent game against Tom Brady and company. Matt Gay is the new replacement kicker now for the Rams that Kai Forbath went on IR. Tom Brady was my set of the week for quarterback. He's really a borderline guy. If you got somebody better, you can play them. There's some streaming quarterbacks out there this week that I do like a little bit better than him. He's struggled against good defenses so far this year, so let's see how he plays in this one. If they can get pressure on him, look out. Ronald Jones should be a start. Should have an okay day in this one, honestly. Leonard Fournette is pretty much like a very low-end running back 2 flex play if you're playing in PPR format, but otherwise I would sit him. Mike Evans, I'm going to sit Mike Evans because I assume Jalen Ramsey's going to cover him. Chris Godwin, you can start. I think he'll have the best game of the wide receivers, but there is a chance that Antonio Brown becomes the guy that has the best game as well. I'm not really keen on starting any of these wide receivers. You can probably start them all as like low-end wide receiver 3s, flex plays if you need to. But if you can pivot, probably what's best for you at this point in time. Rob Gronkowski, I think you can start. I think he'll probably be the one that has the best game out of all the receiving options. Tampa Bay's defense, you can start as well. Same thing like the Rams. You can start them. They should do pretty well. But you might want to tamper your expectations just a little bit as well. But with that being said, these were all the starts and sits for this week's game, Week 11. Like I said, guys, I know I haven't been feeling the best. I want to get this video out still for you. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you guys have any other questions at all, feel free to leave them down in the comments. If you guys think I missed anybody, please be sure to let me know as well. As always, if you need to reach out to me for start sit advice, waiver advice, trade advice, anything like that, feel free to do so, whether it's at my email, coachcraigsports@gmail.com, on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, or on the Coach Craig Sports Facebook page. If you guys liked and enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It helps build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports. That's one for you guys, the viewers, trying to help you with your fantasy football teams, helping you enjoy fantasy football more, getting you guys some wins and hopefully some championship trophies to put on your mantle as well. If you are a new or current subscriber who's yet to do so, also hit that notification bell. It'll let you know every time I put up a new video. Typically, I do 5 videos a week, Monday through Friday. Also, check out my articles on the Podcasting Network. Links down below as well. And then last but not least, the 2 Point Podcast, where we talk about the previews for the week and recaps for the week. That is down in the description as well. I would appreciate it if you guys check out both those. Help support the people that are involved in those as well, including myself. But with that being said, hopefully this starts and sits video was very informational. Hopefully it helped you make some of your decisions. Like I said, if you guys have any more questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. And with that being said, have a great rest of your Saturday.